Hey guys, obviously I don't know whether you can see me or not. 24 hours done. I'm breaking my fast with a pear. Lots of people have asked me what I'm breaking my fast with, and I've decided I'm going to break it with a pear. So I didn't get any soup or I haven't got any broth left, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it with a pear. I'm going to pad out a little bit until people get on there. I can see Craig Webster's on, Katie, my sister Emily, Anne. Paul's there, Joe, and a few other people. If the sound's coming through all right, then just give me a big blue thumbs up. Or even better, let's start with a love heart. So give us a little love heart, and then I know that you're getting all the sound and you can hear what I'm saying. The other thing I'm doing whilst I'm waiting for that to happen is I've got my brother Joe with us. Joe, stick your head in here and say hello. So I've got my brother Joe there, and great, getting lots of things now. So there we go. There he is. So he's gonna sort of, any questions that I get on Facebook, I didn't think I was going to be able to see, and later on when I'm doing the presentation, I might not be able to see the questions. I really want to be able to answer them for everybody, and he's going to sort of prompt me with the questions and all that kind of stuff. So we'll give it another couple of minutes, let everybody jump on, and then we'll go for it. We'll get into it. So a couple of the usual suspects turning up. Ruth, I see you're there. Thanks for your 7 days of sabotage pictures that you've sent to me every day with your bloody, what I can honestly say look like beautiful food, but I wasn't going to tell you that. Other people there. Sis, a pear, how boring. There's a reason why it's something quite bland and boring, which I'll come on to later on. But don't worry. I've got my family here at the minute. Paula's back from Greece. We're all going to go and have a little bit of a meal, but it's probably going to be something pretty bland. It's going to be like a chicken salad or something like that, just because it needs to be pretty low key. So another couple of minutes, then we get plenty of people on there, and then we'll go for it. If you don't mind, I'll carry on eating my pear. I guess we've already ate that pizza. Did I say I was having pizza? I forgot. Oh, I'll tell you what I will do before I start is tackle this idea of the shirt. Is it wrong? Let's have a little show of hands. If you think it's right, give me thumbs up. If you give me a heart if you think it's wrong, whether you can wear a bloke who doesn't tend to sweat very much and keeps himself clean, showers minimum 2 times a day, wears the same shirt twice, 2 days in a row. Tell me if it's right or wrong. Thumbs up, or I'll put a 1, put a number 1 if you think it's right or wrong. Few thumbs up, yes. Just got to throw up there. A couple of love hearts. That's obviously Hanny, and who else was it that mentioned the same shirt? Someone else, can't remember. Yeah, of course it is. It's all right. Oh, few people angry. All right, the great shirt debate. Right, I've almost done my pear. Almost done my pear. Now then, we get going. Okay, here we go. So we've got more than double figures here watching now, which is great. And people, Bish, how you doing, mate? Hope you're well. I haven't seen you for a long time, but I really hope you're well. All right, so obviously 7 days, 5 minutes ago, 7 days ago, I decided I was going to do a fast. I was going to live without food for 7 days. And although that sounds pretty, I don't know, pretty revolutionary or whatever for most people, actually it's something that people have done for thousands of years and people do week in, week out, you know, and for real good reason. And that's kind of what I'm going to talk about. If you look in the description of this video live, you can see the contents, how it's going to run. So I'm going to talk about the how, basically, you know, how I set out and how I got myself to where I am right now. I'm going to go through my daily diary. Now, every day I've been doing updates about 7 o'clock every day. I'm just going to review and recap some of those and talk about some of the big things that I found. I'm going to go through the much anticipated weight loss results. I didn't share that throughout the week. The reason being is I didn't want this to be about weight loss because I don't actually see it as a huge, I don't see it as like a way to gain rapid weight loss. I think there's other stuff that you can be doing, and if you're in a state where you're like, you know, I'm desperate to lose weight, I don't think you're quite psychologically ready to be doing stuff like this. So Emily's saying the sound's a bit delayed. Well, I just, I'll hopefully it'll catch up. But then I want to talk about basically how I survived, a couple of little things that I did just to make it smart and not just really hard. I did put a section in for Q&As. I haven't had any questions as yet, but like I said, my brother Joe, he's going to be recording any questions, and he's going to pass them to me. So in the Q&A section, we'll see what questions we've got, and we'll answer those. And I always say, if you want a great answer, then get yourself a great question. So think about what questions you want to ask. Then I've got a little section here. You might be thinking that maybe fasting's for you. Maybe it's something you should give a try. Lots of people have already said to me, I'm thinking of giving it a go. What do you think? So I'm going to give you some yes or no's, is to work out whether it's for you. And then I'm going to do some of my own little recommendations if you do want to have a crack at a fast. So what I will say is, if you're here just because some freak did 7 days without food, brilliant. You can get all the way up to sort of the Q&A, and then you can probably bounce off and go about your evening. If you're interested in doing a fast yourself, then stick around for the last little bit, and we'll take it from there. What I'll also do with the Q&A is, any questions that Joe's got, I'll ask him and see if he's going to throw a few questions. I might even drag him on the screen because he needs a bit of screen time for our own little webinars that we do. So let's get into it. Right, so I need to have a little mess around. Bring this up, and play this. Come on, there we go. All right, so you need to let me know. What you should have now is a screen that's sort of saying loading, and then what it'll say is 7-day fast, an extended update by Craig Williams. That's what you should be able to say now. And if you can't, then I don't know. If you can, give me a thumbs up. We'll just let that run for a couple of seconds and see. Okay, so yeah, obviously a couple of people there can see it. Joe, yeah, happy with that? Yeah, cool. All right, so here we go then. So first of all, the why. I've been asked this quite a bit. Why have I done this? And why would I put myself through this? And why torture yourself? And why are you going to risk losing lean muscle and all this kind of stuff? Affect your working routines and all this kind of stuff. And so I want to tell you a little bit of a backstory as to how I've got here. Obviously, many of you will know that I work in the fitness industry. I work at my wife Paula and I have a residential boot camp where we teach people to think, eat and move better in pursuit of extreme weight loss. And we run a program called the Conquer Food Program that is for people that are looking to lose more than 3 stone up to, we had a guy stay with us for a year and lost 96 kilos. So we run this program, and I'm constantly looking at ways I can coach them in order to make weight loss easier. And we look at the triggers to unhealthy eating, and what I was trying to do was come up with ways in which we can eradicate the triggers to unhealthy eating. So you all know what I'm talking about. You all have certain situations, certain times where you just make shit food choices and you end up overeating, eating the wrong foods, getting pissed, all this kind of stuff. And we're looking to eradicate that. And one of the big areas that we identified as a problem was travel. I believe that travel is a huge, if you've got a long haul flight, you are, and I'm sorry if you want to keep this kid friendly, but you are fucked. You are going to be eating shit food. And it's the same, it's pretty tough when you stop at a service station as well. You stop at a service station and there's bloody fast food joints all over the place, and it's really, really hard to make a smart food choice. B, or rely on willpower, and you end up eating crap. So I came up with this idea of travel fast, and that's not just like get in the car and put your foot down and get there as fast as you can before you die of starvation. It's about just not eating whilst ever you're traveling, and you can get anywhere in the world now within 24 hours, I think, unless you've got some like 2-day camel ride into the back of the Sahara or whatever. But the idea is that you do not eat anything, you just drink water until you get there, and thereby remove the angst and remove the issues of travelling. So I come up with this idea, and I tested it a few times, and it was good. It stopped me eating crap. So that's the start of it. I've always had a mantra of testing yourself. You know, it's one of the big reasons why I ran across the Sahara. Got a few other challenges coming up, a couple of other events next year that I've got planned, which I'll release and talk about later on. Oh, by the way, I've just managed to persuade Paula to jump in on the next one, which is going to be horrendous for her. So if you know Paula, right, make sure you tune in for my next challenge, because it's going to be a belter. So I always, I believe that, how do you know what your limits are, or what the body can do, or the mind can do, or whatever, if you don't test yourself? So I want a way of challenging what I'm doing. I also wanted to release the hold that food has. We all have, even I in the fitness industry, are all dominated by food sometimes. We are food bitch at times. When we go for a coffee, we end up with a bloody muffin or whatever, and it just has a hold of us, has a grip on us. And I wanted some way of like releasing that grip. Remember, all of this is not necessarily about me. It's about finding other ways for people to handle the stuff that they're struggling with. So that was another reason. I needed to gain some authority. People were standing in front of me going, yeah, but I had to have the big box of Krispy Kremes because I was starving. And I was like, do you know what? I'm not sure whether I've actually truly experienced a feeling of starvation. And therefore I sort of question whether I have the authority to talk about fitness and nutrition and all that if I haven't experienced that. So that was another reason. I also wanted to gain knowledge and the experience of fasting, because it's something I found myself talking more and more about, and the more study I do, the more I find it just like fascinating and incredible, and I thought it'd be a great experience as well. And then the other thing is that I really wanted to experience the health benefits. I just think that we do so much now which is potentially cancer causing or might have detrimental effects on our brain later in life. And I have this mantra where I still want to be able to wipe my own arse at 90. And I will do anything now to make sure that I can wipe my arse at 90. And if there's health benefits through fasting where I can purge cancerous cells, and I can improve cognitive ability and prevent cognitive deterioration. What is it? Deterioration. Then I'll it's happening already. Then I'll do it. I'll do it now. And a big part of being healthy is about putting off the immediate gratification of crap food and playing the long game. Doing things now that are going to have a huge effect downstream in the future. Okay, so that's the how. As like I said, get the questions in. We're getting questions there, Joy's writing like mad. So is there any that we should tackle now, or?
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah, okay. Let's have a couple of questions before we go on to the how. Then let's put that slide back up. So what do we got? So Emmy, did you ever feel starvation? Starving. I don't think anyone truly feels starving unless you've been locked up in Auschwitz or you're caught in a survival situation or whatever. I really don't think we do. What I'll talk about later on is the feeling of hunger. The feeling of hunger is more in your head than in your body. That is a fact. Because there were times when I'd stopped and I felt fine. All of a sudden I was surrounded by, so we stopped at a service station when I picked Paula up and there was food triggers everywhere. I could smell it, I could see it, people was eating it, Paula was going to go and get something to eat and all this kind of stuff, and immediately I started to feel hunger. And that's what I experienced. So much of hunger is triggered in the mind. So no, I never really felt starving. What I started to do, and I talked about this very early on in my updates, was I started to try and be more specific with hunger, because people would ask me all the time, "Oh, are you hungry yet? Are you hungry? How hungry are you?" And I'd be like, "That, yeah, I'm hungry." But the default answer to being hungry is to eat, and I wanted to put something like a buffer, like a psychological buffer between that question, my answer, and going and eating. So what I decided to do was I would rate it between 1 and 5. 1 was like, I'm absolutely toppers, full to the brim. Just buried my face in Christmas turkey and I cannot eat anymore. And 5 was like, I've been in house fits for bloody 6 months and I'm absolutely ravenous. And usually I was about 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. And I basically sort of said, when I'm around there, then I'll just have a little drink of water or a peppermint tea or whatever, go for a walk and distract myself. And I never really got to the 5. There was a couple of times when I would put myself around 3. That's usually in the evenings. Usually in the evenings I would feel hungry, and it was tough because I was on my own. Paula wasn't around. I'm sure if she'd have been around, she'd have been like, look, let's have a little chat. Let's do something to distract us, if you know what I mean. And then, but she wasn't there, so that was pretty tough in the evenings. So I hope that's a question, Emily. Anything else, Joe?
Yeah, Nathan wants to know, how does it help cancerous cells? You mentioned before that you can help.
Yeah. Okay, let's get this out of the way early. So, one of the huge benefits of fasting, whether it's intermittent fasting, alternate fasting, whether it's a long-term fast or whatever, is you've got to imagine that there's two states in the body. You are either fed or you are fasting, right? The 2 states. It's as simple as that. Now, when you're fed, what's going on in your body is your body is recruiting lots of energy to digest food, and then it's also recruiting lots of processes and messages and hormones and systems and all this kind of stuff to deal with what you're putting in there. It's there's a saying like in marketing and business that you can't think whilst you're doing, and it's a lot like that. Your body can't heal whilst it's handling everything else that's coming into it. You add to the fact that it's usually processed foods, dairy that's been fucked about with, grains that we're not supposed to be eating anyway, all this kind of stuff. Your body's constantly trying to deal with that and fight with that. And in our modern world and in this country, it's a constant thing. And we're told quite often in the fitness industry and the food industry that we need to eat regularly to keep the metabolism up and all this kind of stuff. And whilst ever that's going on, the body is really struggling to heal. Now, move over to the fasted state. Imagine not putting anything in. The body almost sits there and goes, well, what the fucking hell am I going to do now? And getting bored. And what it does, it starts to concentrate all those resources, all that energy and all that other stuff, those processes, hormones, chemicals around the body, the detoxification process. It's no longer having to deal with your McDonald's. Now it can turn its attention to issues in the body. And I started this week and I damaged some ligaments in my knee. My knee's fine come the end of the week. I had my feet had taken a bit of a battering with my training over the last couple of weeks, and there was, when you get like dry skin and it's flaking a little bit and all that kind of stuff. My feet have never felt so soft. My nails feel really soft. My skin feels better because the body's giving it. It can work on the healing process, and it can work on the healing process for stuff that you don't even know is an issue. Things like leaky gut, if anybody knows what leaky gut is, or irritation in the gut. You might have inflammation because of some of the crap food you're eating. So that's basically where the idea. Now I'm very careful when I say purge cancerous cells. I don't know what kind of research has gone into that. All right, it interests me. If that is a benefit, then I'm up for that. Both hands up. I'm diving in feet first. I'm not saying, if you've got cancer, I know someone that's cancer, that this will sort it out. Come on, fucking be real. But I must admit, if the big C knocked on my door, I would be cutting out food, and there's a few other things that I would do as well, but it'd be a big hitter. So I hope that answers your question. Anything else?
Yeah. So Ruth EJ said, do you feel less hungry when you're busy?
Yeah, like I said before, I don't know if you caught it, I don't know when you jumped on the thing, but hunger originates in the mind. No two ways about it. And obviously if you can distract the mind, you can distract the symptoms of hunger. And every time I was busy, then hunger was much less. This is why come the evening when I'm trying to relax and trying to settle down, I would kind of struggle with it because I just had less going on and I wasn't distracted. The minute I sort of got up and started moving around and all this kind of stuff, it would ease off. So yeah, good question.
Ben Campbell says, were you able to stay active and did you lose weight?
Yeah, I was able to stay active, but I mean, you've got to look at, define active. So I didn't do anything mega intense on the Thursday night. It was Thursday night, and I've been doing like a little 20-minute jog, a little 20-minute trot every day, and I was sort of eased back because my knee was still a bit delicate, still in the process of healing. But Thursday I felt much better, so I really, I went for it. I went a little bit faster, and I felt a little bit lightheaded, to be honest, when I was doing the more intense exercise. So I backed off a little bit, and now I don't know whether that's dehydration because I've been travelling a while or what. I've read stuff that people have like got max lifts on their weightlifting during a fast. I've read that people get really good intense results in intense exercise, but I never really tested it. When I do 7 days again, or maybe longer, then I'm gonna test it a bit more when my body's a bit more robust when I start. But definitely active. In fact, I couldn't sit still. I think it was the second day I was at a seminar and I was forced to sit in a chair and listen to this guy all day, and I was starting to get agitated, as in I needed to get up and move because I just had an abundance of energy. And this is one of the things that is a real surprise for people. Because what happens, let me get this out of the way as well. You've got to remember that the majority of people will fuel themselves on sugar. Right now, sugar, because it's an instant hit into the bloodstream and into our body. What happens is we get almost a dramatic drop, and we've all had that moment where we crash, and we're just like, oh my God, you become hangry, you need food, and you're ready to kick the fridge door open and bury your face in fucking cake or whatever. We've all had that moment, and that's what you think fasting would be like. I'm going to talk about the process of getting into the fast, or how I did it in a bit, but people that skip a few meals and have that massive bout of hungriness, that is not what you feel when you're on a fast. The reason being is because you actually tap into an energy store within the body, which the body loves to use, which it was designed to use, and would probably, if you started walking, would get you to bloody Paris and back without eating. There's that much energy stored in the body, which is quite phenomenal, really. Any more? Because we are dragging on. I don't know how long we've been on, but hopefully no one's fallen asleep.
You pretty much answered most people's questions. They're all saying, how did you feel during your fizz? How much water did you drink? And things like that. The
water, I'll cover that now, and then I'll get onto the daily diary, which I think it'll just answer a few of these questions. I was drinking about 4 litres of water minimum every day, a mix of sparkling and still. Basically, it was one of the ways that I distracted myself from the symptoms of hunger. So just keep yourself well topped up, and remember that we've already talked about the idea that the body diverts a lot of its attention from handling the shit you're putting in to detoxing the shit you've already got there. So in order to assist in the detoxification process, you've got to keep yourself hydrated. You've really got to. So that's that. Right. So let's. I put the how here. This is basically a little timeline of how I got into it, and I think this might throw up a couple of questions, especially if you're thinking about cracking something like this yourself. So start off with then. A few months before I moved into a keto diet. Okay, so a ketogenic diet predominantly. There was times when I kind of dropped out of it, went to a family party and that kind of stuff, but I moved into a keto diet, which basically means that you start to fuel yourself on fats rather than sugar. There's lots more behind the idea of a keto diet. If you are interested, then you need to do some research, and if you want a follow-up video to this next week or whatever, then let me know. I also started with like periodic bouts of what they call IF, which is intermittent fasting. In essence, what I would do is I would have my last meal at 6 o'clock on night, and I would then fast all the way until 1:30 the next day. All right, and I do that two or three times a week, if not more. And it really worked for me. My most productive time, the time when I'm in the office most, is between sort of 5 o'clock in the morning and then lunchtime. And that's when I get the bulk of my work done. And by fasting, I was much more alert. I didn't have to stop for breaks, or didn't have to stop for an extended break. I could just monster through and then get on with the rest of the day. So that really worked for me. I also did multiple 24-hour fasts. So, I think it was like once a week I would do close to a 24-hour fast. Not always bang on 24 hours, but I did 2 48-hour fasts, and they were freaking hard. They were hard. They were hard because, I was still sort of fueling myself on sugars, and they were pretty tough. And then I went for a 72-hour fast. Paula and Daniel remember this. And I failed, actually. I had to break the fast after about 2 and a bit days because it was just too extreme. Life was going on around me, and I needed to get stuck into life. It was just it didn't sort of end as how I wanted it to be. And then I started reading books just to research it and look into it, predominantly, like I said before, to be able to help my clients on the Conquer Food program. So that's a few months before. If this is kind of right, if this is pitched at the right angle and you're finding this interesting, if I'm sucking on the right tit, then just give me a little blue thumbs up there. Okay, weeks before, I decided I was going to recruit a few allies. I wanted people around me that were going to help me. Ruth, Quirky, Not, them other people that sent me pictures of food. Good, getting some thumbs up. And I wanted to get a bit of accountability. So I recorded a podcast talking about when I ran across the Sahara with a guy out in America called Jared Warren, and he was putting a group together where they was going to aim for a 7-day fast. So I thought, right, this is it. It's coming now. This 7-day fast that I've wanted to try for a while. It's going to happen soon. I started reading the Complete Guide to Fasting, which is an incredible resource. Even if you're not planning on doing a fast, read it, because it will debunk so many myths that you guys will have. I had them. I worked in the fitness industry, and I had these same myths, and it kind of, it does open your eyes a little bit. And I read that twice in preparation for it. Joined the group that Jared started, and was just basically bouncing around in there, getting G'd up by the people that were getting ready as well, and reading blog posts. I put read blog posts there. That's a typo. I started reading blog posts and basically just starting to agitate the drivers into why I wanted to do it and how I was going to do it. I started to plan it out a little bit. So the during then, I weighed in before and after, and I decided I was going to do daily video updates, which some of you will have picked up as we went along. After, I decided I was going to break fast sensibly. So Emily, you remarked before about a pear, how boring. I have a big thing that why hype up food? What we need to do is play food down. Hyping up food is what gets us in the fucking shit in the first place. It's like, oh, look at this crate, look at this cake, look at this food. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Wrong. People that do that are doomed to carry excess weight and have health issues regarding, poor eating choices. We've got to dumb it down. As a nation, we've got to start dumbing this food down. It's not a treat. You're not a fucking dog, right? Why treat yourself with something that's going to put you in an early grave? It's a full-on cheat, and it's detrimental to what you're doing. I'm not trying to come across as a food Nazi, although I know it sounds that way. This is honesty, and there is no change in that honesty. If nobody tells you this stuff, you're not going to change. So you really got to question what you're doing with food, how you're portraying it in your mind. Because if you're thinking, oh, this is beautiful, and I can't wait to try that. Okay, you've got to really dumb it down. So I want to break fast sensibly. The reason being, there was a lot of studies done on people coming out of prisoner of war camps, and everybody thought they were being a good egg, giving them a massive load of food, and some of them died. It was too much for the digestive system and their stomach and all that kind of stuff, and they died. So I wasn't worried that I was going to die, but I just wanted to do it without stomach cramps. So I thought a bit of light fruit. I was going to have a little bit of soup or something like that, but I had a couple of bits of fruit, and so that'll be do. And then I've got a larger meal coming up soon, which will be something like a chicken salad or something like that. So that's the after. Now the future. What I'm planning for the future is I'll do intermittent fasting 4 days out of 5. That's what I'm roughly going to aim towards. I'm going to do 3-day fast every month and 1 7-day fast, if not longer, every year. That's just the protocol that I'm going to follow because, like I said, I want to be wiping my own arse at 90. I don't want these health issues that we're all, as a nation, on the brink of suffering with. So, I want to basically keep those at bay. Are you smirking, Joe? What are you laughing at? People's comments giving me shit.
Yeah. Mark Lee says, poor eating choices. I think you just described me.
Yeah, Mark's a machine. If he's on there, yeah, he's done some incredible achievements this year. So I've got a lot of respect for Mark. All right, cool. So that's the how. Let's move on. Any questions, Joe, that we should tackle now?
Yeah, Nicholas Sadler says, was you taking any supplements? I know you've answered this before, but
Nicola, I mean, there's different things you can do. The biggest worry you've got to have is that obviously if you're not consuming food, you're not consuming nutrients. And regardless of what's going on in the body, I mean, the body's very good at storing some nutrients in the bones, in the organs and all that. But then there are other stuff that it doesn't store. And you've got to be taking those nutrients in. I started off with, on days 1 and 2, this was a calculated decision really, is to take a Pro-Flora for the gut to help the good bacteria in the gut. And I carried that on throughout the week. And also a high strength multivit, just to make sure I'm getting those nutrients. Once I started eating the bone broth, which I'll come on to in a minute, or drinking the bone broth, I dropped out the multivit. So that's basically the supplement. Now there's so many other things that you could take. You can take like some kind of like deactivated clay. You can all sorts of different stuff to help digestion and all that kind of stuff. I didn't bother with that with it being 7 days. I know people that have gone to like 40, 50, and if you, I don't know if you know this, but the record is 380 odd days fasting. A Scottish guy. So yeah, that's the supplements I took. What I would say to you, if you're thinking of fasting, read the complete guide to fasting, get on the blogs, and really you've got to kind of work out your own strategy. Because everybody is different, and so different things work for different people. Anything else?
No, we're good.
Oh, good.
On there, but
Comment. What kind of comments you getting?
People saying, "Fix me, Craig. Cure me."
Yeah.
Some handsome guy says he's not the Messiah. He can't cure you.
Who's that? You?
Yeah.
Threw me off with a handsome bit.
Emily says it'd be interesting to see your blood sugar levels during fasting.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I tested my blood sugar today, and I was about 4 millimoles of blood, which is well into like a ketogenic state. If anybody knows about the keto diet, I mean, I think there was times when I'm quite in tune with my body and the blood sugar. We're doing the endurance events, and I've had a few bouts of pretty severe hypoglycemia where your blood sugar level drops so low that you're close to unconsciousness and that kind of stuff, and I don't like it. It's fucking horrible, if I'm honest. Imagine the time when you was the most pissed out your face and you're vomiting. That's what it's like. You sort of vomiting green violet. It's just not a great place. That's one of the reasons why, if you don't know, that when I ran across the Sahara, I did it fueled on fats. I moved over to what they call fat adapted, and got away from sugar completely because I don't like that. I don't like that erratic nature in the bloodstream. So yeah, next time I do an extended fast, I'll record blood. I'll do the old blood tests and see where we go. What else? Glenn Hollis. Now there's a name from the past. How you doing, Glenn? Are you still out in the States? Glenn does the old ice road truckers. He's one of those drives the big trucks in America. So. Yeah. Cheers, Glenn. Anything else?
Oh, that's it, we're good.
I need some good comments here because I'm pretty much doing this blind. I mean, Joe is reading the comments, but he's only reading out the questions or the bits of banter. So plenty of thumbs up, plenty of if I'm on the right place, if I'm saying the right things and you're finding this interesting, then kind of let me know.
What do they do if you're boring the shit out of them?
If you're boring the shit out of me, then just get yourself off. No one's forcing you here. And, you know, you're not a tree. You can leave. So what I'll do is I'll pad until I'm getting some stuff on the screen. Anyway, I love hat. I don't know who that was, but thanks for the love hat. Couple of one thumbs up. Doing great. It fills me full of.
Take the hint.
Yeah, take the hint. All right. Right. Okay. So let's get into this daily diary because I think it's going to answer a lot of questions. So day one. So 7 o'clock at night, I decided I was gonna do this 7-day fast, and obviously there was some hunger, but not a lot. I was quite happy with the first 24 hours because remember I'd been doing the intermittent fasting. I'd done 24 hours a couple of times before, and I was quite happy. I kind of knew what I was going to get. Brilliant! I'm getting loads of thumbs up now. I need to keep them going every time I say a point that you think, fucking hell, that's pretty good. Then get the old thumbs up there, and I like the smiley faces as well, whoever that was. Oh, plenty of those. So there was some hunger. I had some headaches. I attributed the headaches to caffeine withdrawals because I drink a lot of coffee, and I cut them back. So I was aiming for 2 cups of coffee a day, and I think what I was getting was more caffeine withdrawals more than anything else. Great, I'm getting some good faces now, and that's good.
Maybe if you put your camera on, show your ugly mush.
That warms my heart. And every time I had a headache, I just had a cup of coffee, and it eased the headache. So that was good. I did have interrupted sleep on the first night. I lay in bed until about 1 o'clock in the morning. Bearing in mind, I usually go to bed about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I laid in bed till 1 o'clock in the morning, obsessing over the fact that I wasn't going to eat for 7 days. I was like, what the bloody hell is going to go on, and how is it going to be, and all this kind of stuff, and my mind really was ticking over, and I basically had to get up and sort of wander around the house for a bit, and all this kind of stuff. I went back to bed, and then I finally dropped off, and I woke up the next day pretty tired. I think I remember in the first update, I was a bit tired, like. But having said that, I felt tired in my eyes. My eyes were a little bit gritty and dry, but I felt energised. And this is one of the things that is a real big surprise with fasting, because so many people think that you're low on energy and all this kind of stuff, but you know what? You just get absolutely pumped, full of energy. Because think about this, in caveman times, would it have served us to become lethargic, confused, irritable when we need food? We were out there and like, okay, let's bloody dive on this antelope and bite its throat out. We wouldn't get anywhere near it, and think about, what is our number one superpower as a human being? We're not fast, we're not strong, we haven't got big teeth, we've no camouflage, we're not particularly fast, did I say fast? All these kind of things, we are not that. And most animals can kick our asses, but one thing we have got, unless you're a web developer, is cognitive ability. I say that because Joe's a web developer, but it's the ability to use our brain. Why would we switch off our number one superpower when we needed it most? It doesn't make sense. What we're basing our this myth on is the fact, when you, like I said, we're fueled on sugar, and when we start to withdraw from sugar, we start to get headaches and lethargic, and we just want to bloody murder a Big Mac or whatever. So we felt mega energised. That wasn't a shock to me. I was taking, like I said, probiotic and a multivit because I knew I needed to get the nutrients in, although I wasn't consuming food. And every day, this will appear on every slide, I was going to the steam room and I was having a 10-minute steam room. What is the verb of a steam room? Steaming. I was having a steaming. I don't know. And meditating every day, right? Which is not a practice that I do all the time, but I really wanted to make sure I was de-stressing. The week before I was pretty stressed. I was snapping a bit at Paula, which is not like me. And so I wanted to use the week to de-stress a bit. So I was doing that every day. And that certainly helped because it was a distraction again. So that's day one. Day two, hunger was worse. Fucking hell. Hunger hit me, right, like kicked me square on in the balls. And it was tough. I remember this from when I was doing the 24 and 36 hour fasts in the past. It become quite severe. We call it hunger. I actually believe it's more, for me, it was more of a transition to burn predominantly on fats, not necessarily, the fact that I was starving. Headaches again. Sleep, I got 3.5 hours sleep. I didn't sleep very well at all. But my energy was up again. I had more energy. So I slept less, but I had more energy, which is just, if you work shifts and stuff like that, it's just phenomenal. I had absolutely loads and loads of energy. Probiotic and multivit, like I said, steam room meditation, and I kind of realised that this fast had engulfed everything. Every conversation I was having was about fasting. Everything I was reading was about fasting, and because of that, later on I'll talk about some recommendations. You really you need to plan when you're going to do a fast, because it does kind of engulf what you're doing. Because people either want to knock you off track or want to know about it and why you're doing it and all that kind of stuff. So that was day 2. Day 3 came along, and hunger was this is the evening of day. So I'd done my day 3 update that evening. Remember, evenings were definitely the worst. I was struggling. I desperately wanted to eat. I didn't need to eat necessarily. I just wanted to eat, and you've got to do this intuitively. You've got to listen to your body. So I took it was a teaspoon, not a tablespoon. I brought a tablespoon there, but it's half a teaspoon of coconut oil, and I just let it dissolve in my mouth. It didn't taste great, but it did help just sort of quench the idea of hunger, or quell the hunger, or whatever the correct term is. And the headaches eased. I got less and less headaches. I had 10 hours sleep that night, which, I woke just feeling absolutely phenomenal. I was less stressed. We had a hurricane that night, which trashed a load of stuff outside, and I just took it all in my stride. Didn't bother me, and so I was definitely less stressed. Steam room meditation carried on with that. I didn't do the multivits and the Pro Flora because I was eating a bone broth by now. My stomach felt less bloated, and I had a colonic. Now I know this is not very attractive, but I had a home, like do it yourself colonic, which I've told Joe I'm going to show him the process for that in a minute.
You're not inserting.
But you had a home colonic, which it's pretty messy. Like there was stuff in there that had been there for bloody years. I think it was even
was my Lando Calrissian in there?
Marble that I swallowed when I was 5. But I had a colonic. Same again when we're talking about the detoxification process. It does help, and there's loads of benefits of colonics, and you can have it either done professionally or whatever. I decided I was going to do the old skin flint, get it from Amazon Prime, and that was that. And I had a strong frothy urine, which I know from my time in the desert, as it means there's quite a lot of protein in your urine. The doctor Pete Goodberry, he sort of told me that, and he reminded me of my time sort of running across the desert when I was pretty low on calories as well. What are you laughing at?
Ruth's asking for a live demo on Joe.
It's coming your way, but people have got a pay-per-view for that.
You might need a wide-angle camera.
Yeah, these are just things that I noticed, so that if you do it and you sort of experience that, then you kind of know it's all right. And then I introduced the bulletproof coffee, which, if you don't know, is like a standard coffee. Obviously not instant because it's full of chemicals and stuff, but a standard coffee with I put like a heaped teaspoon of grass-fed butter. Kerry's Gold is my brand of choice.
What's the butter for?
And then a teaspoon of coconut oil. So basically, what it is, it's for the fats. You're putting basically, it's a coffee with fats. There's a whole movement about bulletproof coffee and all this kind of stuff, and you can get loads of information. There's a book as well. There's a book you can get on the bulletproof coffee. It does loads of stuff. Fat has the most satiating properties of any food group. So sugar doesn't really tell your body it's full. Protein doesn't necessarily tell your body it's full. Fat will tell your body it's full, but the signal to get there is a little bit slower. So, consuming those fats, you're getting energy, and you're telling your body that you're full. What's happening? You keep giggling away.
The funny guys, Mark Lees, thanks for reminding us that you ran across the desert, because I'd almost forgot.
No, you hadn't, though, Mark, because I know you've read my book 3 or 4 times, available on Amazon and also runninglight.book.com. But yeah, you're right. Wait till I do my next challenge next year.
You gave us any hints?
No.
Oh.
The final
24-hour anyway.
So he always does it. He always tries to 24-hour colonic. On day 3, I actually considered doing more than 7 days. I was actually starting to think about it, and other people were talking about it. You know, some of the guys out in America were already talking about extending for 14 days and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, you know what, I could, and I really started to consider it. Day 4. The hunger was still present, but intermittently. My big thing for the hunger was every time, I really sort of got to understand how hunger worked. I knew it was triggered in the mind. I knew it comes in waves. It's not. We sort of think that hunger starts and then builds and builds and builds until we have some gut-busting alien jumping out your stomach moment where we just die. But it doesn't work like that. It works in waves, and if you can get past the wave, you can get through the rest of the day. And all I would do is set a 1 hour stop timer on my watch. I'd go, right, I'm just going to go for an hour, because this is one of the big things as a human being. We have this idea about food that it's scarce, and it dates back to caveman times again, and therefore we want to eat it all the time. We don't want to let it get out of our sight because we don't know when the next meal is coming. Well, obviously you know when the next meal is coming the next time you encounter food in modern society. And a little trick that we use on the Conquer Food program is we get them to think, is this the last time I'm going to get to eat this food? So if they're going to Costa and they're like, right, I really want a cake, I really want a cake, I really want a cake, we get them to think, is this the last time I'm going to get a chance to eat this cake? And obviously the answer is no. And therefore, because it's, you remove that scarcity, you can then move on and make a smarter food choice. And so we hate the idea of like an extended period without a certain type of food. So I wanted to make the deadline much shorter, much more, if you excuse the pun, an easier bite to make. And it's easier to think, right, well, I'll just do it for an hour or 10 minutes or 20 minutes than it is to think, right, I'm going to do it for 7 days. It's a much smaller bite for you to chew. And so I kind of did that and got beyond the wave, and that's what I did quite often. 3 or 4, minimum 3 or 4 times a day. I used it quite a bit. So how are we doing? We're doing all right.
There's a few people watching.
Thumbs up. Need some thumbs up if we're doing all right, if we're on the right thing. Headaches are still there. Just a couple of coffees that got rid of them, or a peppermint tea. I got 6 hours of sleep that night, and I felt great. Steam room meditation, bulletproof coffee and broth. And I learned that the want to eat far outweighed the need to eat. I didn't need to eat. I don't need to eat right now. I don't need to go and have a meal. I'm quite happy with my pear. My pear is just completely done it for me, and a little bit of water. And but I want to go and sit and have a meal with my family. I want to go and taste some food again. That's very different from the chemical signals that have been pumped around the body telling you need to eat. And it's probably quite a tough thing to get your head around until you actually experience it. So that was that. Day 5, pretty keep this one short. Hunger still present, but intermittently, like I said. I got 8 hours of sleep that night. Steam room. Day 6, pretty much the same. Hunger still there. 8 hours. Same again. Oh, I put broth on this one, but I was having broth from sort of day 3 onwards, which, if you don't know, is just chicken bones and that kind of stuff, and you boil it for about 8 to 13 hours, and then with a few veg in there, and then you strain it and just drink the veg so you get your nutrients. That's why I dropped out the multivit. Day 6, common theme, as you can see. Okay, and obviously day 7's missing, but okay, it was pretty much the same. Day 7 was the same, and people have sort of said to me, my God, that's amazing, I could never do that, blah, 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 blah. I actually feel a fraud. I said this before, because the last 4 or 5 days, people have been going, how are you feeling, expecting me to be like this, this skeleton that's had the blood sucked out of it, but it's been easy. It really has been easy the last couple of days. So that's that. Right, the weight loss. I know a lot of people have been interested in this weight loss. And I didn't show it because I don't want to encourage people to think that it's just a way of rapidly losing weight, because you do lose weight. You've got to kind of consider what kind of weight you're losing. The majority of weight you're losing is water from the body. It's glycogen or sugars that are stored in the body, in the liver and in the bloodstream and inside the muscles. And obviously a lot of it is literally shit that your body passes. So the weight loss is not really that accurate. There are huge fat burning benefits of fasting, but this is, I've probably not done long enough to really benefit from that fat burning routine. If you're going to jump into fasting and do no prep, as in, you're not on a keto diet, you haven't done any sort of intermittent fasting, you're not going to get much benefit from fat burning. Yes, you're going to lose weight, but you've got to really consider what that weight is. I mean, you could probably get in the sauna for 5 hours and lose a similar amount of weight. So, let's fucking be honest. I'm not going to sell this as some rapid, quick weight loss, fat loss routine. It's not that, which is why I've not spoke about weight loss a great deal. But I think it's only right that I share it now. So here we go. I start off at 84.5 kilos. This is all kilos. Pretty, steady weight loss throughout the couple of days. On day 6, the weight loss stayed the same. I've no idea why, but it did. Funny, the weight is a funny old thing. So in total, 5.4 kilos, which in pounds is 11, about 12 pounds, is it? Something like that. About 12 pounds in 7 days, which, considering I wasn't doing a great deal of exercise, I'd done a little bit of fasting and dieting before I started off this, just under 12 pounds. It's quite astonishing, really. I know people are going to be, how much of that is lean muscle? How much is that? Well, I don't think any of it's lean muscle. The reason being, when I talked about I had the 2 states in the body, you're either fed or you're fasted. The majority of people are fed. Even if you're on a low calorific diet, a reduced calorie diet, chances are you're not really dipping into fat, because insulin will be present. Even if you're not eating a great deal amount of calories, especially if you're eating regularly throughout the day. Remember that advice you get from your trainer, eat regular meals, keep your metabolism up. It keeps insulin in the body, and whilst ever there's insulin in the body, it's really hard for the body to tap into its fat stores. And this is why people get this drop in metabolism and all this kind of stuff. So, and I might have to do more time to explain that a little bit better. But I'm not really worried about lean muscle. Gaining muscle is not really a fitness goal of mine. I don't train for image or anything like that. I train for performance in whatever I'm doing next. Mark, like if I'm deciding to run across the desert again.
Or Africa.
Same place, John. So that was it. Take what you want from that. Okay, so any questions we should tackle now, Joe?
Yeah, Glenn says that he asks, where does the energy come from, the excess energy?
So basically, this is what I'm saying. Some people have got up to 350,000 calories stored in their body as body fat that is never tapped into. We never really tap into it as a unified energy source. If we could tap into it, and the majority of us have lost the ability to do that, because our body will naturally want to burn sugars. If sugars are present, it will burn that because it's so much easier. I don't want to go too deep into this. If you want like an update on this kind of stuff, then put it in the comments, and I'll consider doing something like that next week. But so that's where it comes from. You're releasing this extra energy from fat, which is, there's much more energy in the fat per gram than there is, in sugar. So that's where this energy is coming from. It's kind of releasing it from there. I could massively go into it, but I'm not going to go into the physiology of it all because I've got a meal to get to. Anything else?
Yeah, got loads of questions. So Howard says, have there been any interesting side effects to fasting?
Yeah, I had a twitchy eye, and a twitchy bloody eyelid which was right. I was talking to people and my eye was twitching. I'm like, can they see that? What else? Other side effects? Just just mega alert, full of energy, calm. Like a lack of stress. Decision making was super easy. I made some decisions this week which I was probably agonised over for quite a while, and they were just really easy. So other than that, no, there was no real side effects that you wouldn't kind of expect. Yes, there was times when my belly was grumbling, but other than that, no, it was pretty much all good. Anything else?
Mark wants to know if you've ever thought of working on Jackanory. Right, Stephen Cox said, did you do an organ function test at any point?
It was Stevie. No, I didn't, but I know the people that have, and that they, especially the liver, a fast can be incredibly restorative for a liver. So if you've ever spent any time in the Marines drinking loads of booze and that, it's not a bad thing to. Not a bad thing to go through, just help the liver repair. The liver is very good at repairing. The problem is we don't often give it chance because it's a constant battle for it. It's like, dealing with the crocodile that's closest to the boat. So that's that. Anything else?
All right, one more. So Evie just wanted to know how you're going to break the fast and what's the next
I've had a pear, Evie. I had a pear to break my fast. I was quite happy with that now. I'm full. So I don't really want to go for a meal, if I'm honest. And that's genuine. I don't have to eat right now. I could go another couple of days without problem. You mentioned side effects. I had something in my mind. Forgot. Come on.
That's pretty much it. Everybody's saying good effort. Emmy said, is magnesium any good when you were talking about your supplements?
Yeah, magnesium can be quite good. A lot of, if you suffer from cramps and, that boils down to like miscommunication in your nerves, like nerves firing incorrectly and all this kind of stuff. And magnesium can help with that. Magnesium has got stacks of health benefits anyway. If you're not taking a magnesium tablet or a dose of magnesium every day right now, regardless of who you are, then you're not sort of capitalising on some of the stuff. It helps you sleep, helps your nerve function, stops cramps, helps sugar cravings, all that kind of stuff. So it is good. I didn't take it because I don't know why I didn't take it. I didn't bother. I think I was I wanted to experience if I was going to get cramps, I didn't want to stop the cramps from happening by taking things that would stop it from happening. I haven't had any cramps, so yeah.
Good. People just saying, well done. You can read them afterwards, obviously.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. No, there's some people there that I've not heard from for years, so it's really good to know you're watching.
Get a lot of love. A lot of people are saying they're proud of you. I know you don't feel like it's a non-entity, but there's a few people saying like, well done.
No, the thing is, your good effort. If you're putting good effort there, you've got to look at what you're measuring that on. You're not measuring that on my standards. You're measuring that on your standards. What that means is that you don't believe you could do it yourself. What I'm telling you now, having done this, anybody can do this. This is not hard. You get through the first couple of days and it's a piece of piss. So just recalibrate your own standards. You should be sat there going, yeah, easy, 7 days. So what? People do it all the time. Fucking some religions do it for 40 odd days. One guy in Scotland did it for over 380 days. This is not a difficult thing to do, but the benefits are just, incredible. So
gives a good likes.
Yeah. Good. Getting some likes. Excellent.
So what about people that say like the first thing, their knee-jerk reaction is like, well, I couldn't do it because I wake up in the morning, if I had a coffee and something to eat by 10, I'm shaking.
Yeah, you're shaking, and we've covered this time and time again. It's because what you're not talking about fasting there. You're talking about low blood sugar. Your body is withdrawing from sugar. Let me explain it like this. Okay, we'll need to pad out a little bit, but describe to me the feelings you experience when you're hungry. Okay.
Not just list them.
Yeah, just list, put them down. Get them in the comments now. What do you experience? And I'm talking without putting too many words in your mouth. Irritable, You know, all these things. Let's get them in there, and we'll kind of pad out a little bit whilst we do this little exercise. This is an exercise that I do with the Conquer Food program at TEAM Bootcamp, because I'm really trying to stress a point of where we've kind of got it wrong. So what we got irritability. Either you just stole mine, or did you write that before I said it? I don't know. But good one anyway. Nice to hear from you, Evie.
Listening from across the pond, she says.
Yeah, I don't know where she might be.
Across the pond, so America, obviously.
Yeah.
Restlessness.
Yeah, another good one. What else? Let's get them going. What's Mark saying?
I was literally typing irritable.
How irritating is that?
I know.
What else we got?
Finishing.
Cheers, Jared. Jared's the guy that's pretty much sparked the idea of the 7-day fast right now. What do we got? USA. What else? Come on, a couple of other symptoms. Let's get them in there. Get them in the comments. Inability to type, is that one of them?
Yeah. They're all. They can't type because they're putting down.
Dizziness. Yes, here we go. Evie's there. So dizziness, sick, shaky. You're right. Okay, so stop now. We don't have to do any more.
Is Evie just describing how she feels now?
I don't know.
She needs to go and have a burger or something.
So that's what we believe we feel when we're hungry. Right? I'm telling you now, and this is one of the reasons why I did this, because I want to debunk this. When you actually go without food and your body moves over to a fat adapted state, all the things I'm telling you, alert, you can think better, you're full of energy, you don't need as much sleep as you normally do, and all that kind of stuff. That's what you experience, because it would not have served us as cavemen, needing to go out and eat, needing to go out and catch a food, hunt and gather and chase bloody stuff down until we can bite its throat out. It wouldn't have helped us to be irritable and all this kind of stuff. Surely you can see this. You can understand this, yeah? Have we got this, Okay, let's flip it. Two things. First of all, when you've had a massive Christmas dinner, how do you feel?
Bloated,
lethargic. You've no energy, you don't want to move. Very much like a snake when it makes a kill, eats a bit of prey, it'll lie there for weeks, sometimes a couple of months on end until it digests the food, right? The other thing is, now describe to me, and I don't know the answer to this because I've never dabbled in any sort of mind-altering drugs and all that kind of stuff, but explain to me the symptoms you would expect, not that you've experienced, unless you have, and that's fine, that's your choice, that you would expect when you're withdrawing from drugs. How would that manifest itself in your body? Get them in the comments. Let's go. Let's get them down there, and we'll see what we get.
Evie says she's just finished a 3-mile run. She's sat in the sun.
Excellent.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, cool. Good, Evie. Sarah Holt, which I presume that is Gaz Holt, throwing in the old chicken kebab thing. Me and Gaz used to have a bit of a thing.
Pot noodles.
We used to have a little bit of a thing for the old chicken kebab. Me and Gaz. So anyway, what we got? We got any coming through yet?
Oh, yeah.
So obviously there's a bit of a delay. So I know you might be typing right now, but I'm not getting them yet because there is a bit of a delay. Although I think the delay is your end, but anyway. So get them in there. Joe, any questions whilst we're waiting for this? Any really simple ones or any comments? What's this one here?
Just Evie saying she's listening. Yeah, so Mark says he's dabbled in fasting.
Oh yeah, cool.
Not in drugs that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder which Mark that is. I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
No, don't matter. Let's get these comments in. So remember what we're after is comments of how withdrawal from, or you haven't had drugs for a while, whatever. How would that manifest itself in the body? And the first person to get one, to put one in there,
wins a prize.
Wins a
moon?
No, they can win I'll tell them personally my story about running across the desert.
You mentioned earlier about your feeling of hunger wasn't hunger, and that it was your body switching to predominantly burn fats.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's a switch over period where the body goes from burning predominantly sugar to becoming what we call fat adapted. and that is it's almost like a switch, and you can feel pretty crap. You feel pretty crap. Now I've experienced it quite a bit, and because before any sort of endurance events, the event that shall not be spoke about.
Well, you can now because Glenn was the first to comment, so he gets the story,
personal
right. Story.
There you go. Yeah, hot sweats, cold, irritable, anger, frustrated. All the things that we experience when we believe we're hunger. This is not hunger you're facing. It's not hunger. Drop the idea that it's hunger. What you're facing is withdrawal, and you're withdrawing from sugar, and you're withdrawing from chemicals in your food. It's as simple as that. So when I said before, what are you comparing that to? You're comparing this idea that, you're going to be irritable and no energy and all this kind of stuff because you're comparing, you're misled that the feelings that you're experiencing are hunger. And actually, it's not. It's withdrawal, usually from sugar. We see it all the time on the Conquer Food program. What we got there, shakes, headaches. Yeah, you got it. Exactly that, which is, that. Okay, so should we move on?
Yep, let's do it.
Yeah, okay, so hopefully you found that a benefit. Love hearts and thumbs up and bloody...
Angry faces.
No, what's the old monkey with his hands across his face or whatever?
See no evil.
See no evil, any of them or whatever. Okay, couple of tips on surviving then. So right now, good, thanks for the hearts. And who did the anger face? Oh, you was it, you knob.
No.
Surviving, couple of tips on surviving if you are thinking about doing a fast, okay, of whatever length. The timer, that's my number one tip. We hate the idea that things are forever. When I talk to people and I coach people about, getting off fast food and beating food addiction and all that kind of stuff, they hate the idea that the changes they make are going to be forever. They're like that. I've had people very, very close to me sort of going, but if I don't have chocolate, what have I got in my life? I literally... No, it wasn't you. But, and people worry about that. It's much easier if you sort of think, well, it's only for an hour, or it's only for a day, or it's only for 10 minutes, or whatever. And that's the idea of the timer. Bulletproof coffee is a great thing to get into anyway. What I would suggest you do is get rid of your cereal, sugar-laced breakfast, and just have a bulletproof coffee. It takes seconds to do. It tastes great. By the time you've whisked it up in your NutriBullet or whatever, it tastes like a creamy latte. It really does. And I'm a massive advocate of it. Try it, see how you get on with it. But that's another way that I survived. The steam room relaxation, just checking in with your body every now and again was really important for me. It's something that Paula taught me. Whenever many of you will know that I kind of struggled when I came out of the Marines, and Paula taught me this. It helped with stress and worry and all this kind of stuff, and I wanted to do more and more of it whilst I was doing the fasting, because I heard that fasting can be quite a spiritual process, and I wanted to heighten that. Broth's another good one because you're getting your nutrients. So the little broth, and you can make loads at the start of the week and then just have a little cup of it every day. Sparkling water is a good one. Obviously breaks up the monotony of not eating anything. It's very much like when you stop biting your nails or something like that. If you imagine you've got a timeline like set out for your day, as human beings we cannot have a moment of time that's not accounted for. Yeah, we've got to be doing something in that moment of time. Even if we sat doing nothing, we're still doing something. And when we've got a habit, that is usually set. When you stop doing a habit, like biting your fingernails, you've got to fill it with something else. Otherwise there's a void, and the human brain doesn't like a void, and it wants to do what it's always done. And eating's a lot like that. Normally you would sit down, you'd be there, you'd pick up your knife and fork, you'd have this little routine of how you eat stuff, whether you're a fast eater, a slow eater, or whatever. You eat your veg first or your meat first or whatever. You go through this routine. That routine's no longer there. There's a void, and the mind won't have a void. You've got to fill it with something. For me, I just decided I was going to blast on through and work, and also suck on an ice cube, which is my good friend Mark Smith, a little tip that he taught. He explained to me on day one. So I sort of chew on an ice cube and fill the time that way. Pink Himalayan salt, I would put that in the water just to, you need to sort of up your salt intake a little bit. just to help with the detoxification process, and by increasing the salt, you keep more water in your body. So I did a little bit of Himalayan salt, ice cubes, like I've already mentioned, and either mint or peppermint tea was my go-to really when I couldn't sleep at night. I didn't want to take a coffee because the caffeine would have kept me awake. It was mint, peppermint, or any kind of herbal tea, just to take my mind off, any desire to eat, and just helps there. So they're my big hitting surviving tips. Okay, so we're on to the Q&A now. I mean, is there any questions that I can't? No, we've pretty much got through them all.
We addressed them as we went along, so if anybody's got any more, they can tap them now.
Yeah, get me now. Joe, have you got any questions or all like that? We've gone through a lot. But
you were talking about fasting can help regenerate cells, good for your fingernails, good for your hair, and all that lot. So is this, what it's making for?
I know what you're going to say.
Is this just a long way around of trying to grow your hair back?
No, my hair's long gone, I'm afraid. It's out of here. You gotta let it go, haven't you? Let it go.
Let it go. Should we sing?
Okay, so I don't think there is. I mean, we've answered lots of questions as we're going along, and we have been on a long time now for the old face-based live. Mind you, it's only with the delay. I can see the delay now, and I can see it's just sort of popped up on your screen now. So we might get questions. We'll carry on padding out for a bit. Oh, that's one question that I got actually. Did I lose muscle? I don't know. The app that I've got, the scales that I've got, give you a bit of an indication of lean muscle, but you know what? It's not accurate unless you get yourself submerged in the pool and you do a full-on test at a university lab. You're kind of guessing, and I wasn't going to throw that into these results. It's for you guys to sort of overanalyze, and it's just not something I wanted to share really. Sounds like a bit of laughing downstairs. I don't know what they're up to. Probably a bold comment, I would have thought. But I don't think we're getting any questions, and if they do pop through, then Joe can chuck them in. All right. At this point now, you might be thinking, is fasting for me? And if you are, then I've got some sort of pretty much do's and don'ts. So it's not for you if you're looking for rapid weight loss. I stress that. Yes, I lost weight. Did I lose fat weight? Probably. But I had a whole process of moving over to a predominantly ketogenic nutrition plan before I got started. I dabbled with intermittent fasting, and so yeah, it was good for weight loss. So if you're looking for rapid weight loss, I don't think it's a great idea. If you're somebody that can't exercise, this could be an answer for you, because you can get some pretty good weight loss results when you do it right, without the need for exercise. But my main thing about that is that people that were looking for rapid weight loss, quite often there are other things in their life which need to be dealt with before they tackle the idea of just getting the weight off. People often, they often say, they'll come on the Conquer Food Programme and they'll go, well, I got fat and it made me really unhappy. And 9 times out of 10, when we really dig into it and question what's going on there, what happens is they get unhappy and they get fat. They put on weight. They've got it the wrong way around. And this is the focus of what Paula works on. She works on happiness and positivity, and the byproduct is weight loss. So we've been joined by Paula. Paula, say hello.
Hello.
Are you come to tell me we need to go?
I'm coming to tell you you've been fasting for 7 days. I haven't, and I'm starving.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen.
This is where you start.
Yeah.
Let's get through. If you've got a history of eating disorders or poor relationships with food, it's not for you. Because it's just not for you. It's not something. It has engulfed my life for a week. If you obsess over food already in whatever fashion, whatever way, it's not for you. Jog on. Walk on. Work on something else. This is not the thing for you. If any kind of medication, specifically medication that you've got to take with food, because obviously there's not going to be anything in your gut. There are some medications, metformin, a few other bits and bobs that you've got to take with food because the food creates a bit of a lining. The body secretes stuff in the gut, which protects the gut from the medication you're taking. If you're not eating food, obviously the little bit of protection is not there, and it can cause you ulcers, and all that kind of stuff. So if you're on that kind of medication, then it's not really for you, I'm afraid. What else we got? I don't know. My screen seems to have frozen. If you're pregnant, obviously, I say obviously, that an under 18, it might not be obvious. The reason why it's not good for if you're pregnant or under 18, or I think the next one is, undernourished, if you've got malnutrition or something like that, is because you're not taking in nutrients, and when you're pregnant, you're under 18 or you're undernourished, you have a need for more nutrients. It's not a good idea to starve yourself of those nutrients whilst, when you're in a period of really needing it for growth. Because obviously if the parent is starved of nutrients, the baby is obviously starved of nutrients. So, and like I said, nothing's permanent. So, if you're pregnant, it doesn't mean fasting's completely out the window. It just means now is not the right time, and that's fine. Or you've got any other kind of health concerns. What I'm talking about there is, diabetic. If you're whatever, you really need to be sort of. You can't. I'm not a doctor. A lot of this stuff is based on my own sort of research, not massively scientific on my behalf. Other people have done some big studies, and I'm regurgitating some of their results. But I'm not a doctor. I cannot advise you if you've got other health issues. So it's kind of down to you really. But having said all that, who is it for? If you want to reset eating and reset your cravings, if you've had a period before where you've managed your weight and you've done all right, and you just want to reset eating habits or cravings, then it can be very, very good because it allows the body's signals to sort of reset, recalibrate. Even taste will recalibrate. I've had people that have come to camp and they won't even eat a carrot. As soon as we start getting them eating veg on a regular basis, the idea of drinking Diet Cola, for example, just revolts them because the taste buds have changed, so it's very good for that. If you want to improve health, I mentioned the benefits before, and you should do your own research. If you're not sleeping, it can help sort of create a bit of healing in the body and help you sleep. If you're lethargic or low in energy, if you're unable to exercise and you still need to moderate weight or manage weight rather, then it's a good idea. If you want to heal the gut, if you're IBS, celiac, or to be honest, we all need to heal the gut. We're all eating food that is just not great for the gut, especially if you're eating bread, grains, rice, beans, legumes, and all that kind of stuff. If you want to heal the gut, it's a great way of kickstarting that. I've put here if you want to sprint to ketosis, if do look into ketosis and what goes on. And there's a lot of myths around ketosis as well, but that ketosis is what's behind Paula's incredible weight loss and sort of eradication of food addiction recently. And ketosis was the thing, and it really helps you to sort of sprint to that. So it gets you into ketosis faster, which is a process that your body's got to go through. I've also put if you've got a big decision to make, because my thinking has been clearer, and big decisions, these really big life decisions that you might struggle and agonise over, have just been pretty easy. And your body, when it's not having to deal with loads of food and the constant barrage of food going into it, it opens things up. Remember the old, you're not thinking if you're doing type thing, because so I think that's a good thing. Any more?
So you need to concentrate as well. You mentioned that you.
Yeah. If you need to concentrate or that. I mean, exams. I think exams. If you're doing exams, it would be a phenomenal thing to do. Obviously, you've got time to get the period. You don't want to be day 2 in your exam. That'd be catastrophic. But certainly later on, in 3, 4, or whatever, or even an intermittent fast where you have your exam in the morning or whatever, but you fast from the evening meal the night before, and introduce food again after your exam. I think you get some huge benefit from that, and cognitive clarity, as they call it. So that's benefit. All right, my recommendations, and this is my last slide before we call it a day. Read The Complete Guide to Fasting by Jimmy Moore. You can get it on Amazon, you can get it in Audible, lots of different places. It's an incredible book, and it really will open your eyes. If you're going to do it, make sure you plan a suitable time. For me, and Paula was going away, I was pretty much left to my own devices. I could control stuff much better. It was just a good time for me to do it. Listen to your body throughout. You've got to do it intuitively. If your body is screaming out telling you to end the fast, do it. You just end the fast. This is not a competition of like who can go the longest without eating. You've really got to sort of pay attention to what you're doing. This is what triggered the idea of having a teaspoon of coconut oil and the bone broth and all these other things. So I was kind of listening out to what my body was saying and what was going on and what I was kind of thinking. Joe, I know Joe has just posted a link there for The Complete Guide to Fasting. Absolute awesome co-pilot. It says start small, then go big, right? What I mean by that is start off by doing your little bits of intermittent fasting, miss the odd meal. You have, I don't know, about 1,000 meals over a year. Do you think that missing 1 or 2 meals is going to make a difference, really? So drop a few meals out and then, go for ideally 16 hours is a great time. If you can go 16, 17, 18, brilliant, but start off small. Perhaps do a 24-hour, a 48 hours. And if you struggle with the 48 hours, the common consensus is go for a 7. Things change when you aim for that goal, that big goal, because it gets you beyond the 2 tough days or the 3 tough days or whatever you have, because everybody's different. But also there's a big difference between. It's like winning. So some people they want to not lose. Yeah. Some people want to win. You see how there's a difference? Because not losing is like just on the brink. Yeah, it's just satisfying. It's just not that. Winning is like going beyond. And this is the idea behind starting small and then go big. You want to win. You want to win. You don't just want to creep through, because creep through is painful. It's agonising. That's where you're starving and all this kind of stuff. Go for the big ones and make the most of the easy days. There's a saying in running: make the most of the easy miles, and it's the same in fasting. Make the most of the easy days. Same again, if this is good, thumbs up. I know there's not many left on, but recruit allies and accountability. You've got to have accountability. You almost want people watching 24 hours a day. It's why I did the video updates, because I didn't want to let you guys down. But you want everything that you can to help you succeed, not to bottle it in the early hours of the morning when nobody's looking, because you're kind of kidding yourself. And no one else, no other person might know you've eaten. But your freaking potentially cancerous cells do, and your gut does, and your brain does, and the systems in your body do. That's who you're kidding. So it's something that you've got to get through. Use a timer, like I said. That's my number 1 recommendation. Understand hunger. Understand that it comes in waves. That's what your timer's there for. Just got to get through the wave, of that hunger. I don't know how many of these are left. This is the final one. Have a good reason why you want to do it. If it's just like, I think I'll give that a go, you're not going to do it. Because it does get tough, it does get tough at times, especially early on. So you've got to have a good reason why, So can think back to, who it's right for, who it's not right for. Have you got a big reason why? Are you struggling at the minute because you feel stressed? Are you struggling because you just cannot seem to break the cycle of eating crash, eating fast food, or all this kind of stuff? Have a big reason why, something that's going to get you through it, because with the right why, anything is possible. It really is. So make sure that you've got a good reason why. And I think, my friends, that is it. So what I'm going to do is, just to prove that this is me talking and not some robot, I'm going to bring this back up. There we go. That's me. So we should be back on the webcam now. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. I know we've gone on for nearly an hour and a half now. Personally, I'm fucking jacked. I've got loads of energy. You guys might be drained, but that's because you still eat
Just
food.
listen to this. Just listen to this.
I know there's loads of information there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this transcribed and I'm going to get it put into an ebook. Okay, so I'll make the ebook available so you can, when I've got it done, I'll post it on Facebook and then you can get that ebook and have a little look to it. If you're going to 24-hour fast, would there still be? No, I think you'd be all right there, Coxie. I think you'd be fine without the vitamins. Personally, I take a vitamin every day anyway, so for me it's just carrying on the routine. But I think you'd be good to go for the old 24 hours. So, okay, if there's any further questions, I'm going to stay on for another couple of minutes, and then obviously if I don't go soon, Paula's going to probably eat my arm. So we need to get going. Cheers, Coxie. Thanks for your saying good effort. Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're well. Life's good. I do keep an eye on what you're up to in Facebook. Not in a stalker, creepy way, but just to make sure that you're all right and you're good.
Is he the one that you've got on your desktop wallpaper?
Yeah. He's the one that I've got a little picture on my windowsill that I kiss every night. Me and Coxie went through training about the same time, and we spent a lot of time up in Scotland together. So it's a good friend. I think we're ready pretty much to wind it up then. Like I said, thanks for following all the updates, all your words of encouragement. Everybody, a couple of people I really want to mention. Nicola Sadler, you've been great every day. The comments, how am I getting on? Mandy, you've been there asking how I'm doing. So many people have just popped out of the woodwork. I didn't even know they still existed. Asking how I'm doing, and I'm good because all I want to do is I just want to plant a little seed in your brain that quite often what the world is doing is the wrong thing to be doing. When the world is zigging, you need to be zagging. That's what this is about, and you need something to challenge your idea of how things are. And the fitness industry, the food industry is one of those things. You kind of need to challenge it. All right, so that's it. I'm going to call it a day. If you want to sort of follow up on more of the stuff that Paula and I do at the Conquer Food Programme, go to www.conquerfood.org, and we've just launched a new podcast there where I'm sharing some of the stories from some of the people that have come and completely changed their lives, including the guy that was on Jeremy Kyle and a few other really interesting stories. And we're giving out our foundational teaching. We're talking about the 12 foundations of our programme that we use to eradicate weight from people like you would not believe. So you can get that in the podcast. So, thanks, Joe, for our help all week. 'Cause I know you've had lots of comments from you. Anything to say?
Oh, well done. On behalf of everybody, I know you do feel like you've done much, but yeah, well done. Really good, really inspirational.
Cool.
Experience.
Brilliant. That's all I ever want to be. So look out for my next challenge. It's going to be very different, and it's going to be really interesting because I'm dragging Paula along.
You can't just leave it at that. Give us a clue.
Okay, so basically what I've set my mind on, every quarter I'm going to do a challenge which is centred around what we teach at Bootcamp, at Conquer Food Programme. We teach people about really pulling back life and making life simple, getting rid of some of the complexities of life, whether it's social media, technology, whatever, really pulling back life. I'm not going to say too much. I'm not going to say like some of the key aspects of it. But in our grounds, there's 37 acres of land. In the grounds is an old medieval cave.
Oh.
That's all I'm going to say. So until next time, guys, unless you want any kind of follow-up videos or whatever, take care and thanks for joining us tonight.